All right, we're going to call this public hearing to order. In attendance this evening are Supervisors Fisher, Aguizio, Fleer, Barney, and Cassiola. If you'll please stand if you intend to testify at today's hearing, please stand and raise your right hand. If you want to say anything, if you want to talk at all, you can stand up. Even if you think you might say something. Yeah, might as well. Doesn't hurt.
Each of you do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give us is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Okay, thank you. This is a public hearing to consider rezoning application 2021-0039 filed by Roland and Lynn Gaglia for property on West End Drive, McDonald, PA 15057 in the R3 Village Residential Zoning District. Tax parcel 140-002-0101-000300. The public hearing was duly advertised on January 24th and January 31st, 2022. Who's presenting? Dan, are you?
I can.
Or is there someone that wants to speak? Jack King? He was here a second ago. He just walked out the door. Just, if you want to give us a general come to the microphone and just state your name for the record, and then just give us a general, can you come to right here just because we're live streaming? Oh, okay. He's right there. Jack, do you have the flash drive? Probably not.
Maybe if you just speed up and discuss it. I don't think it's going to be that.
Yeah, I don't think it's a. We're not that scary, I promise.
I just have not reviewed it for a while, so.
So these, if you look at your screen, there's two parcels of ground that are being requested to be rezoned. The one that my pointer's on here right now, give you a location. This is Johns Avenue. The Panhandle Trail runs adjacent to Johns Avenue. This is the property. This parcel has an existing building on it. And there's an adjoining vacant parcel here that does not have anything on it. Creek, which runs right down through here, the blue line, that's the division line between Robinson Township and Cecil Township. So the board, as we discussed this, at least asked us to look at the required setbacks of these properties, should they be rezoned. And if you recall that in the ordinance, on industrial use, this is, I think this Panhandle recreation, there's a 100-foot setback. So this red line represents what that setback would be on either side. This represents the 45-foot setback that would be adjoining it on this side. It's 100 here, but then as you step back, it goes to 45. And on this particular lot, the other lot that has nothing on it, it would have a 45-foot setback from this street. This is your West End Drive.
Why 45 on that street?
Well, I don't, technically speaking, I don't consider the street being having, like it's not immediately abutting these residential properties. So there is a setback, it would be the normal 45-foot setback that's required. But what happens is, I mean, technically you say if this is rezoned, the property becomes non-conforming in terms of setback. The existing building becomes non-conforming. If it's zoned industrial.
How much of
I'm
that
sorry,
property
it's
is
zoned
usable?
to C1, that's what you're requesting.
Yeah, how much property is usable in that larger parcel? in front of that red line.
Right here?
No, the other parcel.
Good bit.
You would have the usable area right in through here. Not sure what those dimensions look like, and then you'd have another area, a couple pockets. Put something back here.
Did they, that's what I was gonna ask. What's the intent of the use of the property?
We're new owners, we purchased it off of Roland. We own a commercial plumbing mechanical company. Currently, we're using it as our warehouse. Our main office is in McKees Rocks. So our intent is to eventually move into this building and possibly in the next 2 to 3 years, put up another building. If I'm looking at that, where the existing building is to the left, which would be close to the property that I believe is owned by the sanitary company. It's on Noblestown Road. They own all that vacant property there behind the fence line. But other than that, the property that's over by the residential homes, we have no intent to do anything there. Maybe years and years down the line, maybe bring it up above the floodplain and put some residential there, since it's already residential across the street. But no intent for anything right now. Our only intent now is just to bring our company over here eventually and put up another building by the existing building.
What are you anticipating traffic flow in and out of there a day?
Our guys don't report to the office. We have 12 employees, and the only people that report to our office currently, well now, for the past 12 years, is myself and the guy.
Yeah, but I'm talking about your warehouse.
The same. Just what we own. We have
Oh,
a
I'm
state
sorry.
body truck.
Can you do me a favor? Can you come to my friend and just tell me what your name is?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Sorry, Candy.
My name is Michael Pugliano.
Okay, sorry, it's just for the transcript of the record.
Michael Pugliano.
Yeah, is that stream big enough to impact on? That's the setback or something like
No,
that?
they're up at,
What's the access, though, to the property? Like, do you have to come along, like, would you have to come in front of the residential homes on the residential street?
yes.
Yes, this would be it right here.
Can you even do that?
Yeah, I was just telling Don, I'm concerned about the issue of, I mean, they're gonna be utilizing this West End drive through a residential property to access this use that now appears to be commercial. I'm not sure, I didn't hear exactly what it was currently though, the use on this property currently.
Everything is R3. Oh.
Like
What's
this
the building?
Originally, that was a trucking company. That was
What is
Nick,
it
Nick
right now,
Guerin
though? Hold on,
Trucking.
Ron, let her answer, yeah.
Previously, it was the landscape company. They were using it as like a contractor's yard for, that was Roland. I've done a ton of research on this property, like back to 1920. It has only ever been used commercially. There's actually a couple
you
deeds
have
that
her
that
name,
building, it says that it's erected
Can you state
commercial.
your name? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Jackie Cornoni. So that residential has been there for quite some time as well. I think Jack actually told me it used to be part of Turntable. So they're used to trucks coming down that access way already. Roland never had any issues with them. We already had the variance given to us a couple months ago to continue the non-conforming use as the contractor's yard. For Mike, his whole thing is, you know, if ever something happens to him, we go to sell this property, it's already zoned commercial. We didn't want to do light industrial because we didn't want anything to be able to go in there. We wanted to still be able to respect that residential area right there. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that entire parcel over there, it is industrial. It's a very industrial feel. That drive, it isn't even paved, is it? Like where the residential is?
Yeah, where the residential is, it's paved. But right across the creek is an industrial building, Crane Place, I believe. What's that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And actually, Roland had swapped property with them, so part of the property that he originally owned was part of that property and so on and so forth. I spoke to several people on the road, and they said exactly what Jackie said. The guy ran a landscaping company out of there with 20 dump trucks for 20 or 30 years. So,
No, that's not true.
well, I'm just telling you what they said. I don't know what's true. I'm not from here. But what we do, I mean, right now, I mean, we're just using it for overflow and warehouse. But as Jackie said, the reason why we wanted to attempt to rezone it is just in the event that we were to resell years down the line or whatever it may be. I mean, it is truly a commercial property that I guess was for some reason zoned R3.
Yeah,
When did that landscaping company cease doing business, if you know?
I'm sorry.
When did the landscaping company cease doing business, if you know?
I do not know. I believe it was recently, but they were still using the property as their warehouse space. I don't know when the business actually went down.
And you mentioned getting a variance for something. What did
Yes.
you get?
So when we were under contract during the sale, we applied for our special exception because Roland already had one granted to him whenever he purchased, well, he had that granted back in 2004. So there is a non-conforming use of the building already. So that variance was granted to him, which was then granted to us.
By Cecil Township?
This was 2021, like
Yeah,
3 or 4 months ago. So they have the variance to continue to use it as the contractor's yard. We just wanted to take the next step and actually get it Zone C1.
It's been empty for quite a while, though.
I'm sorry.
It's been empty for a while, quite a while.
I mean, we went under the property was listed probably, when did we go under contract?
September or October, and we closed the day before New Year's. Roland had told me, once again, I don't know him. Roland said that he no longer operated out of there. He was still using it for storage, but he no longer operated out of there. I think he said it's been about 2 years.
Correct.
So the listing photos on the agent side, it was probably listed, let's just say May. It was on the market for a little bit. All the listing photos, which I have in the presentation, has all the storage, his equipment. I mean, there's still stuff on the property now that he had left. So he was still using it as as the use that it was permitted to him. It was never abandoned.
Gretchen,
And, yeah.
about that variance, I mean, under normal circumstances, the zoning board can't issue a variance for a use that's not permitted in the zone. They can grant variances on the standards in that zone, but I'm not quite sure how
Right.
it ties in with.
What I think I'm hearing is you actually got a certificate of nonconformance that applies to you. Is that what you got, or?
No, the variance was granted.
Yeah,
You
the
have it.
variance was granted to us to operate. Yeah.
Yeah, they
I apologize. I would have brought this information.
Yeah,
had
but
no
I
idea.
mean, we can pull that up to see what they approved, because this didn't cross my desk to look at,
I
but we
should
could pull
have
that
it.
up and check to see exactly what they did.
Do you want me to go?
I know the history of this building very well.
Okay.
And that guy didn't have no 20 trucks, he had 3 one-ton dumps. The building originally was, Tommy, you might remember him, Nick Guerin. Guerin Trucking, that was his truck garage. And then he passed away and it sat empty for a long time. And them guys might have stuff sitting on that lot. It's not usable stuff. It's junk that they left behind.
But at this point, you're saying that you want to zone commercial, but you would not run trucks or anything out of it. I know, because once it's zone C1,
The zoning,
right,
you get all
it's
the rights to that
forever.
zone.
Well,
I
I mean,
understand.
if I can speak, we're not a trucking company. We're a commercial contractor. You know, I mean, our guys go directly to a job site. The guys that have trucks, they take them home. We do have 3 trucks that sit in our yard. They're trucks that don't go out every day. It's a stake body for deliveries. We have a larger dump truck that normally when it goes out, it's going out to a job.
But zoning, if it applies to the property, not your use, so if you went to sell it the next day after you granted it, they'd have every rights to use it as a commercial, like, even if you might not.
Yeah, but
So
it would have to be industrial to, I
No.
believe your zoning says light industrial to be a,
Contractor.
yeah. So I
So
mean,
that's another reason why we went with the variance. I've done, literally, I have deeds pulled. I mean, it used to be a bottling company. The property has only ever been used as commercial all the way back to 1920. There's never been anything residential built on that. That's where our argument is as well. The appraisal that we got, an appraisal is done by its highest and best use for the price, and throughout that entire appraisal report, every comparable is light industrial. He refers to it multiple times as light industrial, and there is not one residential comparable on that property. And the way they see it is the property at its highest and best use. So he's pretty much telling you that this property that he appraised at whatever purchase price, which doesn't really matter, is intended to be used as light industrial or commercial.
That doesn't apply to us. Gretchen, on that,
Well, it does from the standpoint that if we're saying the impact to the surrounding neighbors because we're changing the use is, hold on 1 second.
yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't apply to us what, the highest and best use was tagged as.
What I think my argument with that was just stating the area itself is used as light industrial and commercial in its surrounding areas. The only R3 is the 8 houses right in front of that parcel that honestly, you can't really even do much with because of the flood, the creek.
The property that's across the street, the residential
Jamie.
area, is in a flood, it's 3 foot into the flood zone.
What property you're saying?
Across from the,
You got a pointer, Jack?
You talking about where the crane company is?
no, well, yeah, that's 3 foot under flood zone there.
But that's not our township.
Well, I don't know I'm just answering his question,
Yeah.
sir.
I think I can do it with.
Yeah, she's just talking about the only thing residential that we know of. How does this work? It's right here, this part of the property, which is right across the street from these residential homes.
This isn't a variance.
No, it's what I said, wasn't it?
It's not a floodplain, but I don't know if it's, can you, okay, then yes it is. So I don't even know if anything can technically be built on that.
We
Any of
have to
it.
build it up,
And then where the building is, that, it is so tucked behind that R3, those houses, that I don't even, personally, I can't, this I guess it would be an opinion, don't know how they would really be interrupted unless it was just from the access drive. Roland actually did say, and actually, Jack told me this, where you can see West End Drive right here. This used to be a drive-through from Robinson Run, right? So, what was it? I forgot the point that I was trying to make. Oh, Roland almost wanted to make this another access road down the line. I think that's what he told me. He thought the meeting was at 7, that is why he is not here. So I apologize about that.
Dan, again, on that, the stream itself, did your engineer on the plan establish setbacks from the stream, any at all?
So Cecil actually sent out the engineer.
Say that again?
Cecil sent out the engineer. This is what we got back from the Cecil zoning for the engineer.
Oh, that's our plan there. Tom's question is relative to the floodplain. So there's a survey that was prepared. It is Robinson Run.
Oh, is that what?
I'm just looking to see if there's a floodplain shown on here.
Normally,
At least be 50 feet. It's 50 feet from the top of the bank.
Can I pull up my email?
If you also drew red lines around that stream, what would they leave you?
It's not gonna leave much. It's probably very close at the bend of the creek. Building.
I'd just like to put on the record so that it's clear that what the zoning hearing board granted them on December 21, 2021 was a continuation of an existing non-conforming use under section 1802 of the UDO. So it wasn't a variance, it was what I said earlier, a certificate of continuation of a non-conforming use. Basically, it said this new proposed use is equal or lesser to the existing non-conforming use that was happening on the property, and therefore that particular use may continue.
And if it's for them alone, if they sell it, somebody else has to use the same use or less.
So if a non-conforming lot or structure is sold or transferred, the non-conforming use at the time of transfer shall be permitted to continue. Correct. But if they were to change to something else, then they'd have to go back for a hearing before the zoning hearing board to determine if that use is the same or less impactful, and then they could say, okay, we'll allow you to continue. I don't think they have the authority really to go up in severity in the zoning hearing board's determination.
I guess so since you're allowed to use it for what you're using it for, and you
Right.
can sell it for that same use, why push for the rezoning?
It, for the value of the property at the end of the day. Not even that, but even, so that way another buyer comes in, they don't have to go through the same process that we went through.
So what you're saying is you just want to make more money.
No, that doesn't.
That's exactly,
I'm sorry, I'm the new owner, that isn't it at all.
well, that's what it sounded like what she
Well,
said.
She's our agent that's representing us. It isn't about making the property worth more money. I don't plan on selling it. It's the fact that if I do decide, if I die tomorrow, you know, I mean, somebody has to come in front of Cecil Township and say, will you renew this variance or whatever you're saying it is for us to be able to move on? Because we had to do that before we even closed, and we had to pay $500. Not that that's a big deal, but I don't know that the next person is gonna wanna do that because it's
So they
changed to be a
wouldn't, so
commercial.
for
That's a
peace,
built-in protection
yeah,
for
so
the
for peace,
residential uses right there.
hold on. So for peace of mind for you, somebody could buy the property from, God forbid you die tomorrow, from your estate and use it for the same purposes without having to get another letter. The only reason they would have to come back before Cecil Township is if they want to use it for something more than what you intend to use the
So we
property
still
for.
had to file for the variance, and we were just continuing.
It's
the
not a variance, it's
Right.
basic, it's
They
a
can
certificate.
come back for something more, they could come back for a change of use.
A
something similar or
rezoning.
less. Well, even if it's resold, it doesn't matter. It's
Right.
the use that applies to the land, not the owner or.
Right, that's what, so this doesn't apply to you, this applies to the property. So if it's you or me that owns the property, this still applies. This, you don't have to come back before the township, before the zoning hearing board to get this redone.
So then we must have been misled from the get-go, where we would have never filed for, I mean, this is where I guess where I'm confused, and why did Roland file for it in 2004? Because we had to make sure that we were able to operate legally under Cecil Township to do his business with the same non-conforming use.
What, did he have this? We'd have to confirm, I don't know for sure.
I have
The
it
original
on-
thing that Roland had Roland's name on it from the previous owner that he bought it off of. Cecil Township advised us that we needed to file for this again, pay the $500 fee, and now it has our name on it.
Well, you did that.
Right,
you
well,
got something that would work for
Roland
you.
wasn't doing HVAC and plumbing, correct? You said it was a contractor's yard and landscaping.
It still says warehouse, and that's where I'm that's why I'm coming to the board, is because if I want to move my operation out here with that letter to be in conformance with Cecil Township, I cannot. So if I say I want to move my office out here, that letter says that I cannot. That letter says that that is for warehouse and storage, unless I read it incorrectly. Then because we shouldn't even be here.
So then one of your reasons for seeking the rezoning is that you do want to move your office out to this location?
Yes.
That building, it is a warehouse of about, 5,000 square feet. And then on the left side of that building is all office space. Like, there's an office downstairs and an office upstairs. That building has been there. It's what it's been used for.
Well, that's a
It
different-
wasn't unfair, I mean, it wasn't fair to say the zoning department misled you, because you're asking for something in addition to what the zoning board gave you. You're asking for a change of the zoning on the property. You had every right to try that, and if this board would approve it, then you'd be exactly what you want, but.
Well, she just said that we didn't need to, that would have went with the property, so yes, we shouldn't, if that's the case, we shouldn't have had to have done anything.
If we would have given them commercial, then they have you see all the permitted uses in commercial, it'd be just a one.
You're talking about two different things.
Listening, you're talking about something different. This letter, this approval So this letter, should he pass away tomorrow, somebody could come in and use it for whatever the reasons listed in this letter without his name on it. You're right that if we change it to commercial, that somebody could come in and do any of the things listed in commercial, but you're getting all worked up.
No, I understood that. I'm just saying that they implied that they were misled by the zoning department. They have a,
Hold on one second, hang on one second.
Didn't she just say that the same thing?
It is.
Because that letter goes with the building.
Yes.
We didn't need to apply for it and pay $500.
No, you
That's
did.
not what
I know,
was
and
The-
it doesn't, it's already done.
Right, and you've already done
Yeah,
it.
it's done.
Yeah.
But the
We were
previous
doing
use was
already
different.
Buying a property. We wanted to make sure that when we purchased the property, we were able to do what we wanted to do in this property. So the variance hearing or the special exception, whatever we like to call it right now, was before the rezoning. So I had to knock both of them out. I had to apply for both because if I didn't get one, I needed to try to get the other. So this is where we're at. And now we have this transferred with us. This is permitted. Why not keep going? I have researched this property, like I said, for years. And if we can get this rezone commercial as it has been used, then why not? I mean, and for him, it's only going to better him and potentially the township down the line. I mean, are those residential homes going to be there forever? I don't know. You know, is this property still going to be used? I mean, it's almost 4 acres. It's over 4 acres. You know, is it
4.58
good?
acres.
But I think it's a different situation, like you're
No.
kind of all over the place, like you're saying, like, oh, it's for future use, but then you're saying he wants to change it to commercial because he wants to bring his.
No, that's not true. You asked me what our intent was with the property, and I said in future use another building. But our intent is to, not right now, you're right, not right now, because I don't have any way to move our entire operation out here because that letter does not say that we
We're
can.
saying, so what, that's not what we're asking. We're saying that if we are agree to rezone this commercial, is your intent to bring more business?
Yes.
Of the ask for the rezone,
Yes,
and not for to increase the property value for future sales.
And the thing is, an appraisal's not done by the zoning. We're zoned R3, and we appraised for our purchase price that we were under the impression that it was already zoned C1. On the assessment page, it says C1. So we went into this believing that that's what we were purchasing, found out later that it was zoned R3. So an appraisal does not go by the zoning exactly, it goes by its highest and best use. So that was what I was trying to educate you on. It's not on,
We understand that that's not what we're asking.
right, I know, it's
What
not
we're
necessarily
asking
about
is-
the dollar amount. It's,
Are you asking for the rezoning for your intended use now? And he's saying yes. You're saying that you're asking for rezoning so that the property is zoned for, in case he decides to sell it down the road. Those are two different things. If you're asking for the rezoning so that in the short term, he intends to bring his office out here, which I will agree with is not permitted under this letter and would need a C1 commercial zoning, to me, that's a totally different consideration.
I guess I'm just looking at it as a whole, being in this transaction from start to finish and why we came here. So I might be giving you information that may not necessarily apply to right now, short term. So that's my apology.
No, there's no vote necessary. We're just trying to understand what the purpose is. Anybody else have any other questions?
yeah, for our deliberation, I think we need to see a plan that shows the delineation for the stream requirements, the setbacks. And Dan said he thinks it's 50 foot, or he thinks probably 50.
This was the only thing we received. Whenever I went through the application, I asked what I needed to present with it, and I forwarded everything to both. What? Oh, it might be my notes.
Tom Wet, would you still wanting to see that, to see what else is usable there?
Yeah, and there's two parcels. If there is room to have access between the parcels, then you might swap something with another neighbor.
no.
Well,
I
what
said,
you said something.
no, I said that there was a trade between Roland and that business there with property. This was years ago. Yeah, I was just trying to set an overall Not that I'm swapping with anybody, not that I'm gonna cut in another roadway, not that I'm gonna put a bridge across the creek for more access. I'm asking you to change the zoning for the simple fact, I bought a property in Cecil Township with the knowledge that it was zoned commercial, and then I found out it was not zoned commercial, it was zoned R3 with this variance. I'm sorry, I forget what it's called, but I'm just gonna go with variance.
We know what you mean.
So, and that is how this building was able to be presented as what it was. I later found out that that was incorrect. We were already going through the process of buying it, so we were told to go ahead and do the paperwork to get another paper with our name on it. We started there. We're here today to rezone it because the intent was us to move our property out here, or move our building out here, or everything that we do. So that's why we're here.
One last thing, does that swap that they talked about back then, was it by deed or just by,
No, it's all registered, it's all.
Yes. I have almost every deed that you could possibly imagine on this property. I wish I could email it so I could pull everything up for you.
That's okay, that was a great explanation, the way you just explained it. And I think at this point we fully understand. So thank you. Any other questions by the